you've bought the watch. You've worn it proudly. Maybe it's been with you for years, or maybe it's a recent addition to your collection. But now it's time to ask a question every Rolex owner eventually faces. Is servicing my Rolex really worth the cost? Rolex watches are known for their longevity, but even the most robust mechanical timepieces need care. And if you've done even a bit of research, you've probably noticed something. Rolex service isn't cheap. In this video, we're breaking down the real numbers behind Rolex maintenance, why the price tag is higher than many expect, and whether it's ultimately worth the investment. Let's start with the basics. What does Rolex service actually cost? A standard full movement service through Rolex starts at around $800 to $1,000 for most models. This includes disassembly, cleaning, lubrication, timing regulation, and pressure testing, plus a refinishing of the case and bracelet if you choose to include it. For more complex models, like the Daytona with its chronograph function, you can expect to pay closer to $1,200 to $1,400. Vintage pieces or watches with complications or precious metals may be quoted higher depending on the condition and parts required. And if your watch needs more than routine maintenance, such as a replacement crystal, bezel, or dial, the costs can increase significantly. For example, replacing a ceramic bezel insert on a Submariner or GMT Master 2 can add several $100s to the service total. So how does that compare to other luxury brands? In general, Rolex is slightly more expensive than brands like Omega or Tag Heuer, but often less expensive than servicing a Patek Philippe, Audemars Piguet, or Vacheron Constantin, especially for complicated models. In fact, for a high-end automatic chronometer, Rolex is still considered relatively reasonable given the quality of service and longevity of the end result. Which leads us to the next big question. Why is Rolex service so expensive in the first place? First, there's the matter of expertise. Every Rolex service technician goes through rigorous, Rolex-specific training. These are not general watch repair technicians. They are factory-certified specialists working with custom-designed equipment developed by Rolex itself. Many of these tools aren't even available outside of the brand's service network. Second, consider the quality of materials. Rolex watches use proprietary alloys like oyster steel, Everose gold, and Cerachrome ceramic. Servicing or replacing components made from these materials requires exact tolerances and highly controlled processes. It's not just routine maintenance, it's precision preservation. And finally, there's the matter of brand equity. When you service a Rolex through an authorized channel, you're maintaining not just the function of the watch, but its pedigree. You're preserving its authenticity, its resale value, and its connection to a legacy of engineering excellence. Still, many owners hesitate. They wonder if the cost is justified, especially for watches that seem to be running fine. In the second half of this video, we'll explore that hesitation in detail. Is servicing your Rolex always the right move? When should you wait? Can independent watchmakers offer a better deal? And how do you know whom to trust? If you own a Rolex or plan to, this is information you won't want to miss. Be sure to like this video and subscribe to Luxury Insights for more expert-level guidance on caring for your timepieces. Let's now address the question most owners wrestle with. Is the cost of a Rolex service really worth it? It depends on your goals and on how you view your Rolex. For many, a Rolex is more than just a luxury accessory. It's a long-term investment, a family heirloom, or a piece of personal history. In any of those cases, regular servicing is essential. A well-maintained Rolex can retain its value and in some cases even appreciate far more consistently than one that has been neglected. Servicing ensures mechanical integrity, maintains water resistance, and preserves the original materials. Rolex recommends a full service approximately every 10 years, but in reality, the ideal interval can vary depending on how the watch is worn. Daily wearers, divers, or pieces exposed to heat, salt water, or dust may benefit from servicing every 5 to 7 years. Neglecting service can lead to far greater costs down the line. Lubricants degrade, parts wear down, and gaskets weaken. A Rolex that isn't serviced may run for a while, but small problems become big ones, especially when dealing with intricate movements or water-damaged internals. And when parts like the winding rotor or escapement fail, replacements can be costly, if they're even available. Still, there are circumstances where delaying service is reasonable. If your watch is keeping time well, hasn't been opened, and shows no signs of water damage or functional issues, there's no rush. But the key is vigilance. If your watch begins running fast or slow, if the crown feels rough, or if the crystal ever fogs, these are all signs that it's time to act. Now let's look at an increasingly popular option: independent watchmakers. Many independent horologists, especially those trained by Rolex or other Swiss brands, offer competitive pricing and high-quality work. A full service from an experienced independent can run 30 to 50% less than what Rolex charges, often using the same tools, methods, and even OEM parts. This route can be particularly appealing for vintage Rolex models, where brand-authorized service may result in the replacement of historically valuable components, like patinated dials or tritium hands. Independent specialists can often preserve those details, making their services more aligned with collector preferences. However, there are caveats. An unauthorized service can void your Rolex warranty. It can also affect resale value, especially for newer models where buyers expect a full service history from Rolex itself. And while some independents are exceptionally skilled, others may lack the proper equipment or access to original parts. This is especially critical for models with newer movements or proprietary materials like Cerachron bezels or Rolesaur cases. The decision comes down to trust and priorities. If your watch is under warranty, still within the last decade of production, or something you plan to sell eventually, Rolex service is the safest route. But if you own a well-worn vintage Submariner that you intend to keep and enjoy, a reputable independent may be a better and more cost-effective fit. So how do you decide? Ask yourself these questions. Is your Rolex under warranty? Has it been more than 7 to 10 years since its last service? Are you experiencing any issues? Accuracy loss, rough winding, moisture? Is resale value important? Or is this a personal piece? If you answered yes to any of these, servicing through Rolex is likely the best decision. If not, and you're confident in your independent watchmaker's credentials, you can explore other options with more flexibility. At the end of the day, a Rolex is built to last, but only if you treat it that way. Servicing is part of ownership. It's not just a repair, it's a recommitment to the quality, craftsmanship, and heritage that makes Rolex what it is. So tell us, have you had your Rolex serviced recently? Did you go through Rolex directly or use an independent? Share your experience in the comments. You might help another collector make a smarter decision. And if you found this guide useful, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to Luxury Insights, your trusted source for horology wisdom, buying strategy, and expert-level ownership advice. Until next time, stay stylish and stay informed.